Damayanti, you read the title and the subtitle. Hills gives way to a spotless blue. Inside a hilltop pavilion, hundreds of devotees and guests, politicians, journalists, and academics among them, have gathered to observe the 76th anniversary of Prabhupada's birth. It is to the guests especially that Prabhupada directs his address. Damayanti?
Ladies and gentlemen, of course, those who are my students, they know what is the ceremony. Those who are visitors, for their information, I may inform you something about this.
About this?
Ceremony. Otherwise, it may be misunderstood. An outsider may see it that why a person is being worshipped like a god. There may be some doubt.
Doubt, indeed. The 1960s and 70s have seen a spike in the number of opportunistic gurus coming to the West, streamlining Vedic revelation to suit modern tastes and reaping the profits. To establish trust, Prabhupada begins to demystify the guru by connecting him to other gurus in parampara, a disciplic succession of authentic spiritual masters descending from Lord Krishna himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The demystification continues.
On the top of the mango tree, there is a very ripened fruit, and that fruit has to be tasted. So if I drop the fruit from up, it will be lost. Therefore, it is handed over after one, then it comes down. So all Vedic process of knowledge is taken from the authority, and it comes down through disciplic succession.
Well aware of modern aversion to authority, Prabhupada then compares the guru to that venerable American pedestrian, the mailman.
Just like a postman comes and delivers you, say $100, so he is not delivering that $100. Your friend has sent you $100, and his business is to hand over that $100 as it is, without any change, without taking $1 from it, no, or adding, no addition, no subtraction. His honesty, his perfection is that he delivers you that $100 which is sent by your friend. He may be imperfect in so many other ways, but when he does his business perfectly, he is perfect. Similarly, we receive perfect knowledge from Krishna through the agency of spiritual master.
And the next part of the narrative I call Guru is one, Gurus are different. The Guru as God's mailman, down to earth, yet out of this world. In this sense, all genuine Gurus are one. Those Vyasa Puja guests who later read Prabhupada's teachings will learn how all genuine Gurus also differ. In the very first text of the Sri Chaitanya Chaitamrita, the definitive biography of Lord Krishna's golden avatar, Lord Chaitanya, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami begins by offering his respectful obeisances unto his many spiritual masters.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto the spiritual masters, the devotees of the Lord's incarnation, his plenary portions, his energies, and the primeval Lord himself, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Chaitanya Charitamrita.
You don't have to read the references. In the book's introduction, Srila Prabhupada notes,
He, Kaviraj Goswami, uses the plural here to indicate the disciplic succession. He offers obeisances not to his spiritual master alone, but to the whole parampara, the chain of disciplic succession beginning with Lord Krishna himself.
Later in the book's first chapter, text 35, Kaviraj Goswami offers his respects to, quote, my initiating spiritual master and all my instructing spiritual masters. Prabhupada comments,
a devotee must have only one initiating spiritual master, because in the scriptures, acceptance of more than one is always forbidden. There is no limit, however, to the number of instructing spiritual masters one may accept. Generally, a spiritual master who constantly instructs a disciple in spiritual science becomes his initiating spiritual master later on.
That last sentence indicates the natural, normative guru-disciple relationship, sustainable over time. Although Prabhupada was uniquely empowered to spread Krishna consciousness worldwide within a few years, it is worth noting that he entrusted the thousands of disciples he was initiating to the care of his local leaders and senior devotees, his budding, instructing gurus. Now, decades on, to glimpse how his movement's guru-disciple culture can become more local and sustainable, the way Prabhupada himself describes it, let's continue to examine his presentation of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita's foundational first chapter, The Spiritual Masters. And the section is called More About Initiating and Instructing Gurus. In the years since Prabhupada's passing, the spotlight on the initiating spiritual master may have led members of his movement to believe that to initiate disciples requires more qualification than to instruct them.
The initiating and instructing spiritual masters are equal.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me just do that again. More qualification than to instruct him. In his comments to text 34, Prabhupada disagrees.
The initiating and instructing spiritual masters are equal and identical manifestations of Krishna, although they have different dealings.
In his comments to text 47, Prabhupada raises the point to a warning.
There is no difference between the shelter-giving Supreme Lord and the initiating and instructing spiritual masters. If one foolishly discriminates between them, he commits an offense in the discharge of devotional service.
Of course, the potential to have many instructing gurus doesn't cancel the requirement to accept initiation from a singular guru. In his introduction to the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada writes, quote, "The connection with the spiritual master is called initiation. From the date of initiation by the spiritual master, the connection between Krishna and a person cultivating Krishna consciousness is established. Without initiation by a bona fide spiritual master, the actual connection with Krishna consciousness is never performed." Unquote. The next section I call The Power of Commitment. Heavy with spiritual knowledge, all genuine gurus are teachers. At the same time, their impact on our lives varies according to the depth of their commitment to us. Again, from his commentary to text 34, Prabhupada says,
Gurun is plural in number because anyone who gives spiritual instructions based on the revealed scriptures is accepted as a spiritual master, although others give help. Others give help in showing the way to beginners. The guru who first initiates one with the Mahamantra is to be known as the initiator, and the saints who give instruction for progressive advancement in Krishna consciousness are called instructing spiritual masters.
Notice the progressive commitment from introducing to from introducing to initiating to instructing. Whoever instructs us the most is naturally more influential in our lives. As we noted above, quote, "Generally, a spiritual master who constantly instructs a disciple in spiritual science becomes his initiating spiritual master later on." Unquote. Even when the guru doesn't say a word, the guru is always teaching, especially by example, the most powerful teacher. Quote, "Example is better than precept," and quote, "Actions speak louder than words." Okay, next section I call, "So you, every one of you, become guru." For the devotees listening to Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja address, their appreciation of his unique position is increasing. Seated on a throne-like crimson dais, Prabhupada is a guru of gurus, quote, a master at whose feet all masters sit. Although their commitment to him is as green as their summer surroundings, his commitment to them is timeless, and his ongoing request, difficult for most of them to imagine, become guru. Oops, I think I just read what I was supposed to let her read. Yeah, sorry. Read it again.
Okay. For the devotees listening to Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja address, their appreciation of his unique position is increasing. Seating on a throne-like crimson dais, Prabhupada is a guru of gurus, a master at whose feet all masters sit. Although their commitment to him is as green as their summer surroundings, his commitment to them is timeless, and his ongoing request, difficult for most of them to imagine, become guru.
In the Sri Chaitanya Chaitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 7, text 128, Lord Chaitanya famously tells the Brahmana Kurma, Yare dako tare kaha Krishna upadesh, amaragyai guru hanya tare desh. Quote, instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Sri Krishna as they are given in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land, unquote. As recorded in the Bhaktivedanta Vedabase, in hundreds of lectures, morning walks, room conversations, letters, and public and private events, Prabhupada cited the above verse as a reminder of the Lord's request, become guru. From the beginning through the middle to the end of Prabhupada's global ministry, these reminders to his followers were relentless. Here are two examples. Okay.
I want that all of my spiritual sons and daughters will inherit this title of Bhaktivedanta, so that the family transcendental diploma will continue through the generations. Those possessing the title of Bhaktivedanta will be allowed to initiate disciples. Maybe by 1975, all of my disciples will be allowed to initiate and increase the numbers of the generations. That is my program.
Whew, such an expansive vision of the parampara Prabhupada had. Maybe by 1975, all of you will be allowed to. And he didn't say he'd be gone either. He just wanted to keep expanding it. And?
So you, every one of you, can become guru. You must say that I am not interested to become a guru. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that if you are not interested, that is not very good. You should be interested. You must be guru. That is success of your life.
Yeah, and that was in Tehran, 1975. And then next section, strictly follow. Oop, let's go back. Prabhupada anticipated that some of his leading disciples, out of immaturity, might try to imitate his unique position as Jagat Guru, a universal teacher. At the same time, his relentless reminders to become genuine gurus indicate a greater concern that in their supreme esteem for their founder Acharya, his followers would not mature to become gurus in their own right and shelter others in Lord Chaitanya's mission. How then would Krishna's mercy reach every town and village, as the Vedic scriptures had foretold? And how would every sincere aspirant receive the personal care and guidance they would need to make the challenging journey home, back to Godhead? In his writings, therefore, Prabhupada made it clear that the most important qualification to become a guru was to, quote, strictly follow the instructions of Guru and Krishna. And now we're going to see a letter excerpt to a Canadian devotee. It was Janos Dambergs. He went to McGill and then he became Janardhan, the first Janardhan. Read that.
A person who is liberated Acharya and Guru cannot commit any mistake. But there are persons who are less qualified or not liberated, but still can act as Guru and Acharya by strictly following the disciplic succession.
So that's the letter. So some people might say, well, I only accept what's in Prabhupada's books, Prabhu. Well, here's something from the books. It says the same thing. And for those who only accept what Prabhupada wrote in his books, we have this passage.
Although a follower may not be a liberated person, if he follows the Supreme, liberated personality of Godhead, his actions are naturally liberated from the contamination of the material nature. Lord Chaitanya therefore says, by my order, you may become a spiritual master.
One can immediately
become a spiritual master by having full faith in the transcendental words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and by following his instructions.
Okay. One need not be a superman or a superwoman to be a regular spiritual master. Liberated or non-liberated, a guru is genuine if he or she, quote, strictly follows the orders of Guru and Krishna. By Prabhupada's reckoning, his movement today likely has more local gurus than its own members recognize. They simply need to be formally approached for guidance and formally encouraged to give it. As Prabhupada told his disciples in Hawaii, quote, we require many millions of gurus. That's from a Bhagavatam talk in Honolulu. Pens scribbling, cameras rolling. His American guests listen to Prabhupada close his Vyasa Puja address. As he looks into their eyes, Prabhupada is concerned that they've correctly heard and understood his message. Because in the audience, the New York Times was there, Mother Earth News, KDKA Pittsburgh, the local congressmen, journalists, politicians, academics, all these VIPs were there to find out who's behind all this Hare Krishna stuff. We see them on the street corners of America, but we don't know where they come from. Well, here's the Hare Krishna Guru. Here's the one who brought it. So Prabhupada is specifically giving this Vyasa Puja address so that they don't misunderstand. And here's what Prabhupada says.
So this is the position of a spiritual master. Don't misunderstand that. This person is sitting very comfortably and taking all honors and contributions. It is needed just to teach them how to respect the representative of God. This is the sum and substance of Vyasa Puja. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for caring enough to come and save us. And now before we do questions and comments, we do this. And this is so the questions and comments are relevant to this lesson, because the tendency is to want to talk about it, anything and everything, right? So here's okay, Damayanti, read that.
Lesson 1, the spiritual master's learning outcomes.
Learning outcome, this is what we should have gotten out of the lesson.
By now, we should be able to explain how Srila Prabhupada demystifies the Guru. Explain how Gurus are one and different from each other. Explain why we may misunderstand an initiating spiritual master to be superior to an instructing spiritual master. Explain why Srila Prabhupada wanted his followers to become Gurus. Explain how even non-liberated devotees can act as Gurus. Explain the real meaning of Vyasa Puja that Srila Prabhupada gave at the end of the narrative.
Okay. So, in terms of those learning outcomes, we'll take your questions and comments now. And this is the shortest lesson. Actually, I'm glad that we have plenty of time for Q&A. We don't even have to hold breakfast really, because it's only 7:45. Okay, Nityananda, right? Yeah. Okay. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you for
Now, there's no mic for the recording for the...
There is a mic.
There is a mic. Oh, good. Great.
So I have a few questions. First,
3
There-
questions. You gonna hog the whole thing? Or just ask one?
this one. Okay. Okay, I'll ask this one. So you mentioned that one who initiates you with Mahamantra is your initiating spiritual master.